involvement, I think, began, I would say, when we started envisioning it. And it was just a group of friends that got together and said, you know, we're getting older and we're going to be thinking about going to a retirement community. What do we want when we get there? And one piece that emerged for all of us was that we wanted to sort of have something to do with education. We hadn't quite fully named it. We were processing it.
We were part of a small group that was retired or about to retire, and we were looking for ways in which we could age with enrichment.
Then one day, I was looking at the Central PA magazine, WITF, and just scanning down over this page, and I saw this advertisement for Pathways Institute at Messiah Village in Mechanicsburg. And I remember yelling to my husband, hey, we don't have to invent the wheel, it's been invented. And so passed that on to Larry Zook, and he talked to Emerson Lesher, the CEO there, and that was a good connection. So we didn't really have to, it was already in process. So, you know, the whole beginning stages were worked on. So the CEOs picked up on that, and that's how Pathways got started at Landis Homes. And it started 10 years ago.
So aging with enrichment Pathways was the perfect thing. And so we got interested in why can't this program also be held here at Landis Homes? And lo and behold, it did.
Well, the whole involvement, of course, started with setting up an advisory board, hiring Susan Stauffer to be the director because she had the experience at Messiah. And so then Larry Zook asked if I would chair that board, which I did for about 8 years, I think 8 or 9 years.
In addition to taking classes all the way through from 2009 until now, when there was a need for volunteers to join the advisory board, I thought that's something I could do, something I would be interested in, both for my own good to make sure that Pathways continued as well as for the good of future people as well. So when Susan was looking for volunteers, I volunteered for that and became a member of the advisory board. And then when she developed a curriculum committee to work specifically on new classes and new instructors, I volunteered for that.
Well, I became involved from the point go, really, because I taught the first 10 years ago. I was one of the first ones.
Being involved with Pathways for 10 years, I counted up that by the end of this year, I will have attended 100 classes. And that is truly amazing to me.
I've been involved through the conduct of classes, and one of the things I've really enjoyed is being able to pick the topics hopefully of interest to the folks that attend the classes, but teach things that are of interest to me and I can share with others.
I think I've been involved in Pathways from the beginning, mostly as a student, and I've really enjoyed the courses, so I've kept coming back.
I was involved on the planning board for at least 5 years.
Well, my involvement in Pathways and my husband's is pretty much the same. We take every class that we can possibly lay hands on. We've been on many trips and really enjoyed them. I've been asked to be a member of the advisory board, which has really been an interesting experience. I've gotten to meet lots of different people.
I have been involved with the Pathways program since 2014. I moved up to Lancaster in 2011 from the South. This is a very different place. I was excited to find the information in the newspaper, community calendar, all the community goings on, and Pathways was in there, and a little information about it, what it was, and I called and discovered it was just what I needed to jump back into a different society, a different area, and meet people.
We have more ability inside of each of us than what we think and what we give ourselves credit for. And I think it's nice to have the opportunity, even as a retired person, to learn some new things and maybe discover some new talent and some new interest. So it's just a way of uncovering and helping us to grow as individuals, and I like that. I want to keep on growing all of my life, and I think Pathways helps me to do that.
What I like most about Pathways is that it just extends my possibilities of learning new things beyond sort of any other resource that I have in a lot of different directions.
So I think it's grown and expanded because it is really oriented to aging people.
And there's a lot of aha moments or oh wow moments. And that's what I like, you know, the awesomeness.
Well, I guess what I like most about the Pathways is simply the opportunity to continue learning, to share some things which are of interest and exciting to myself with others.
And so you can come and just feel so comfortable and put as much effort and energy into it as you want and absorb as much as you want. And for me, that's just very, very good thing to have in my older years.
I think that Pathways enabling us to learn in new directions has been extremely beneficial. We can try this and try that and find out, maybe not so much that, but I'm really interested in it and it sparks an interest, and I think once you keep your brain active, that's a good thing.
Yeah, the extent to which it's oriented towards me really fits.
Pathways was the belief that staying active physically, socially, mentally is a key to aging in a healthy, productive, happy manner. Pathways, through its program, certainly meets the needs of the intellectual learning, the social activity, both of which Pathways is rich in the conduct of its classes.
Lifelong learning, one of the great benefits to it is that you meet new people and you continue to widen the circle of your friends. And for a person like me who moved and retired here and didn't know anybody other than my son who lives here in this area, I mean, I needed all the friends I could get, and lifelong learning at Pathways has helped me to meet so many wonderful people in the last 10 years, and I'm so grateful for that wide circle of friends.
The best part is the learning part, but it also is interesting how people come in to the Landis Homes campus who don't live here, and we get to learn to know people from the broader community, which I think has really been a plus for Landis Homes.
And community is involved with learning and caring and making new friends. I think that has happened. A lot of new friendships have formed, and that's enriching to a person to have new friends. And the people that have come from off of campus have really added a lot to the program, and they are passionately involved and supporting it.
If you've never been part of a Pathways course, you'll never find out without taking one how exciting it could be and how stimulating and mind-stretching, and also the people around you that take the class, which classes are often interactive and they participate in, so it's a good way to get to know other people.
It's like making new friends and seeing them again and again and having some very interesting subjects and material and so on to talk about.
And it's really been beneficial to us as a way of getting to know people, because when we came here, we knew nobody, absolutely nobody at Landis Homes. And after a few semesters at Pathways classes, you get to know the people that are interested in the kinds of things you're interested in. And it really has helped us in our acclimation to life in Lancaster County.
I think the people at Landis Homes are so wonderful. I mean, the staff that works here, and you know, all the people that you meet as fellow students, all the instructors, and then of course Susan, the director of the whole program. But all the people have just been so gracious and so friendly and so wonderful. So people would be the thing that I really, really would appreciate.
I think the best part about attending is that you're sort of in a community of people who are interested in a particular subject, and it's nice to get to know those people, and it's nice to share the experience.
I have taken all the classes I possibly could. We used to be limited to 5 a semester. I've always taken 5. Now I think we're up to 8. So I always take full advantage of all the possible classes that I'm able to take.
The best thing about attending Pathways class is simply you can go and participate either by being very quiet and listening, or you can ask questions which stimulate a discussion among the people.
One that I really enjoyed was hopping on the train, going to Philadelphia, visiting Central Market, I think it was called, or the big market in Philadelphia, and then on a tour, walking tour through the city, looking at monuments and having somebody directing that tour that knew all about these monuments, something that you probably wouldn't think of doing on your own, but with a group, it was really very exciting.
I believe that one of the best things in attending Pathway classes is the active participation of class members who bring a rich background with them.
Oh, they have varied subjects, topics, and each topic is not half a day or weeks or on and on 2 or 3 times a week, but they're kind of short. So it fits a lot of schedules for many people.
I've really enjoyed the field trips. I visited an Amish schoolhouse while it was in session. That was absolutely fascinating. We had dinner in an Amish farmhouse. I was born and raised in New York City, so these kinds of things are really special to me. I've loved learning more than I ever thought I wanted to know about films. We had one instructor that presented a class on, now let me get this straight, the history of wine, beer, tea, and coffee. It was absolutely fascinating.
And the instructors are so terrific. They have such personalities, and they don't just teach, but they explain, they tell you. It's like storytelling, some of them, and you become very involved.
If you have a burning passion to share some specialty of yours with other people, other older receptive audience, give it a try.
Know the joy of imparting knowledge and helping people. So I think just the whole idea of the fun and the excitement, being able to share with people, is probably what draws all of us into wanting to be an instructor.
I suppose one of the most favorite things which I had in teaching in courses is that I was able to use some creative approaches which I would not have done before, but it helped to structure the class and the subject which we were covering there. And that seemed to strike fire among people.
If there's anyone that's giving some consideration to whether or not they would enjoy teaching a Pathways course, I very strongly recommend it. Because when you teach, to begin with, you have pleasant interaction with a lot of very fine people, people who have many life experiences to share. So in teaching, I think the instructor comes away with a lot of new, interesting knowledge.
I just think the world is so full of possibilities of things that we might know about and would be interested in, get excited about, and develop a new passion. And this is an excellent way, inexpensive way to really get into that.
Well, one of the interesting things to me about the Pathways being significant is that you can teach and can learn. No tests, no extra reading necessarily, unless you become hooked and want to continue to do that.
They need to take one just to find out what Pathways is all about. And I'm sure they would be highly enlightened and encouraged to take more classes.
We're never too old to learn. That's an old adage, and I do believe in it.
It reminds me of one of my favorite poems, Robert Fulghum. The very end of one of his poems, he says, "Be aware of wonder. Be aware of wonder. Don't let the world become ordinary. Don't pass it by." And this program does just that. It picks out little different aspects of the world and the people and society from history and from even now, and it gives you a snippet of it, not just, oh, there's a snippet, but wow, this is what it's about. That's why people should come.
The best part about attending Pathways classes is there are no finals, there are no exams, there are no book reports due, there's just enjoyment.
Once you are exposed to Pathways, I think you get hooked on it. I think you find it to be such a wonderful experience based upon the fact that I know that when we have those kickoff sessions and people get that catalog that lists the new classes that we're going to offer, people can't wait. They rush out of the room and immediately begin to pick out their classes. So there's great intense interest in that. So I think once you've experienced Pathways, you like it so well. Both the classes, the instructors, and the people that you meet, you just can't wait to be a part of it. It's just getting that first experience and doing that and deciding that's what I'm going to do. And after that, I think it becomes automatic.